Hi everyone. We are going to present our views on the text Teaching English as a Second or Foreign Language. Introduction. Teaching English as a second or a foreign language is a complex and a multifaceted field that involves teaching English to non-native speakers in various contexts. This can include teaching English to immigrants, international students, or business professionals who need to use English in a professional setting. The list of contents. Goal of teaching. This involves developing their knowledge of English grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and cultural norms. Effective teaching. Teachers must be able to create engaging and interactive lessons that cater to the diverse backgrounds and experience of their students. The chapters. The book is organized into chapters that cover key topics such as language learning theories, lesson planning and materials development, teaching grammar and vocabulary, listening and speaking skills, reading and writing skills, and also assessment and evaluation. The uses of these chapters are: each chapter is packed with useful information, practical tips, and classroom activities that teachers can use to enhance their teaching skills and improve students' learning outcomes. In this, we are going to talk about the integrated approaches. In this unit, the integrated approaches explores the various approaches to integrating different language skills and components such as grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and discourse into a cohesive and effective language learning experience. Practical suggestions for integrating language skills: integrating grammar and vocabulary, integrating pronunciation and speaking skills, integrating listening and speaking skills, integrating reading and writing skills.
Content-based language teaching. Let's look upon what is content-based language learning. Historically, there are different methods of teaching English as a foreign language. In grammar translation method, content was defined as the grammatical structures of target language. In audiolingual method, content consists of grammar structures, vocabulary, or sound patterns usually presented in dialogue form. More recently, communicative approaches define content as a communicative purpose for which speakers use the systematic functional linguistics. Models of content-based language teaching. There are different models of content-based language teaching like total immersion, partial immersion, theme-based courses, sheltered courses, adjacent model, and we'll look upon one by one. Total immersion. The Culver City Spanish immersion program is an example of early total immersion because the foreign language is used for most or all academic instruction beginning from the kindergarten to the grade 1. Next, the partial immersion. Partial immersion is typically involves devoting approximately of 50% of instructional time to instruction taught in this language 2, that is the second language teaching. Another model, theme-based model. Thematic curricula have been widely implemented in US elementary schools serving native English speaking and language 2 students. Such instruction is language driven in the selected topics or themes provide the content from which teachers extract language learning activities. Next, the sheltered model. Sheltered courses exist in a variety of secondary and post-secondary setting in both language L2 and FL setting. The term sheltered derives from the model's deliberate separation of L2 students from the native speakers of the target language for the purpose of content instruction. The final model is the adjunct model. The adjunct model is a content-based approach in which students are concurrently enrolled in a language class and a content course. A key feature of the adjunct model is the Coordination of objectives and assignments by language and content instructor. So one of the example of content-based language teaching can be theme-based animal issues course mentioned as wildlife trafficking. The goal of this course is to have students rank and justify their opinions about wildlife traffickers. So, some of the uses of the content based language teaching can be seen as content based language teaching is an integration of language and content teaching. Content based language teaching is supported by the SLA literature, which demonstrates that content based language teaching offers students opportunity for plentiful input, output, and interaction. A wide variety of instructional strategies for content based language teaching are available to the teacher to assist students with the language development and content understanding. And finally, content based language teaching offers implications for assessment so that teachers can ensure that their students are learning the L2 as well as the targeted content.
Task Based Teaching and Learning by David Noonan. David Noonan is a prominent linguist and a professor of applied linguistics who has contributed significantly to the field of language teaching and learning. Now, let's see what Noonan has stated about task based language teaching. Task based language teaching has its origin in a number of philosophical positions and empirical traditions in education, applied linguistics, and psychology. These include experimental learning and humanistic education, learner centered instruction, and process oriented and analytical approaches to syllabus design. The classroom experience is an extract from a lesson based on the principles of task based language teaching. The learners are engaged in exchanging meanings, not memorizing and repeating utterances presented by the teachers or the textbook. The term curriculum is a broad one, encompassing the planned learning experiences provided by an institution or a course of study. The curriculum in action occurs as a curriculum enacted in the moment by moment realities of the classroom. Finally, there is a curriculum as outcome, that is, what students actually learn as a result of instruction. The next topic is text authenticity. Text authenticity is an important feature of task based language teaching. Text authenticity is the use of spoken and written material that has been produced for purposes of communication, not for purposes of language teaching. The issue here is not whether authentic material should be used, but which combination of authentic, stimulated, and specially written materials will provide learners with optimal learning and opportunities. Specially written texts display features of the phonological, lexical, and grammatical systems for learners. Input is simplified for beginning learners, and patterns are made explicit. While such texts are necessary, they do not prepare learners for the challenge of coping with the language they will encounter in the real world outside the classroom. Network based language teaching and learning. It is also called as computer assisted language learning and particularly internet based instruction. It has rapidly become an integral part of the design and delivery of education. Technology has four major roles to play in second language pedagogy. Number one, as a carrier of content. Number two, as an instructional practice tool. Number three, as a learning management tool. Number four, as a communication device. As an instructional practice tool, it provides opportunities for learners to practice the four skills, that is, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, as well as to do a wide range of drills and exercises. As a learning management tool, it enables the teachers and learners to organize their learning in various ways, to monitor progress, and to keep records of achievements. Finally, as a communication device, it provides learners with opportunities for authentic spoken and written communication with other language users. Let's see the uses of task based language teaching. There are six uses. Number one, students are at the center of learning. Number two, students are working on something that is personal and relevant to them. Number three, students gain practice in collaborating with others and making group decisions. Number four, students spend a lot of time communicating. Number five, students take on responsibility for engaged learning. Number five, Task based learning is enjoyable, motivating, and a great place to start for teachers thinking about incorporating more project based learning at their schools or classrooms. Here's the conclusion. Task based language learning promotes a constant connection with the language you are learning and helps keep you motivated as you continue to improve your linguistic ability. A task based approach offers an alternative for teachers who are interested in creating a more student centered environment in their classroom. In a task based class, the lesson is based on the completion of a central task and its presentation. Task based language teaching can be challenging for teachers as it requires careful task design, effective scaffolding, and appropriate assessment. It also requires a shift in focus from teaching language forms to facilitating communication. Overall, task based language learning is a valuable approach to language learning that can enhance learners' language skills and promote meaningful language use. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Shalini. My topic for the presentation is Literature as Content for Language Teaching from the book Teaching English as a Second or Foreign Language. So, why use literature in teaching a language? So, English teachers use language as a base to teach English in order to develop the language skills among the learners, as it is the basic to start with. So, when the learners are exposed to the variety of English dialects that are used in English literature, it will make them prepared to the types of language that they are going to learn and understand in the actual real world. The second is that when the students share their thoughts and feelings about the literature that they have recently encountered, say a poem or short story or a novel, it encourages students to communicate with each other, which is the sole purpose of learning a new language. So, students who are encouraged to uh, expose or read a literature, it helps them to develop their sense of self, their identity, their moral code, their ideologies, and understanding of the world. The other reason is that when a book written by a popular author is recommended to the learners of English, it will make them interested as no other courseworks can do. So, literature can also become a mode of motivation, as finishing a book or a piece of literature becomes a real achievement for a language learner. So, most importantly, developing a reading skill right from the young age, the students become an independent learner where reading becomes, even when reading becomes pleasure, their unconscious mind performs all the language skills, that is reading, speaking, listening, and writing. So, how to use literature in a language teaching class? The sole purpose for literature is to make students enjoy and learn simultaneously. So the teacher's role plays an important and crucial part here. The teacher is to select a literary piece which the students can relate, enjoy, and as well as learn the language. So, once the literature topic is selected, the teacher should make sure that the students read and listen in the class. It might be the teacher who read it or the students who read and listen simultaneously. So, after finishing the literary text, the initial discussion should be about what the students enjoy and what they did not enjoy. After that, an individual work should be done where the students should interpret or give opinions about the literature that they recently encountered. So, what is the use of using literature in a language teaching class? So, using literature has the benefit of giving the learners the ability to learn the language skills. from literature. The language skills are nothing but reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So when the students are constantly exposed to literature works, it helps them to read, it helps them to listen, it helps them to speak and write, which are the aim in language teaching class. So when students are exposed to extensive reading programs, it increases the interest in reading for the students, and in turn it increases the vocabulary. When a student is exposed to listening to literature, either from the students or fellow friends or from teachers, it helps them to understand and get exposed to various dialects, voice qualities, and pronunciation. When it comes to speaking, when listening and reading are done properly, speaking could be a greatest benefit. It develops a social linguistics and pragmatic competence. And writing will be a smooth process when all the three are done in a proper way. Writing could help students to react to the literary works through reviewing, and it will make them write their own opinions by themselves. So in summary, if a literature is employed in teaching a language, it is more importantly concentrated on what is conveyed is closely related to how the story is told. Because in literary text, form is essential to meaning. Literary texts provide an excellent vehicle for developing students' language awareness. So, as we discussed before, using literature text would help the students learn the language skills, that is, reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So, since the literature is from all around the world, it would obviously employ their cultural values and traditions, which the learners will get exposed to, and they will create a cross-cultural awareness for them. Thank you.
Approaches to school-based bilingual education. Bilingual approaches to language learning describes the various bilingual models found at different levels. It may be elementary, secondary, post-secondary, and adult education, identifying key instructional features and emphasizing the drive for quality instruction. In many parts of the world, the attainment of proficiency in 2 or more languages is viewed as a highly desirable goal. Sometimes the development of bilingual skills takes place outside the bounds of formal education, impelled by individual factors in socio-cultural contexts. The emphasis here is on understanding how 2 or more languages are used within an educational system to promote the goal of bilingual proficiency for enrolled students. A person who has age-appropriate language skills in 2 languages, though the nature and extent of skill in each language will vary according to many individual and situational influences, and this is called bilingual. The ability to read and write in 2 languages is known as biliterate. Bilingual education approach is one in which 2 languages are used as media of classroom instruction for the